Hey there, Tracy Cotton with Morrow Insurance Agency, and this is the part 5, the last of the series on agritourism tips and insurance. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of miscellaneous aspects of how you can better protect yourself with agritourism activities on your farm. We're going to talk a little bit about contracts, signage, and training, and those are just a few of the last topics that I thought that might be of importance. But needless to say, there's tons more topics where that came from. And so I hope that you will continue to follow along here on my YouTube channel, as well as check out my blog, which is insurancewisetracy.com. And there I actually have not only some more video clips and so forth, but also actual articles that are regarding not only agritourism, but also farm insurance and small business insurance, which actually for most farms really were very pertinent. So definitely check that out. But wanted to go ahead and today give you a few last helpful hints on things that you could do to protect yourself better. One of the things that I will go back to is on Monday, well, the very first day, part 1 of the series, I was talking about the North Carolina agritourism law. And in that, obviously, we're talking about, does that prevent you from getting sued? And just putting up the signs, of course, it helps limit some of the things that actually might be brought up in a lawsuit, but it does not mean that you couldn't be held liable still. One of the things that it actually states within the statute is that not only should that warning sign be present on your property, but it also, the wording of it should be included in any contracts that you have with customers or vendors. So here's the idea. So if you have somebody who's coming out and is going to be having a wedding on your property, a special event on your property, somebody who is going to be having some sort of something, and they're the host of sorts, they're the sponsor, they're the ones that are wanting to have the event at your property, and that's great. I mean, it's definitely something you should do. You should work with an attorney to have a good contract set up so that there's some expectations that you can actually, know that they should have this, you should have that. I know a lot of insurance carriers that I work with want the farm in the contract to state that that they require that the bride-to-be or the, whoever's going to be having the event have their own event insurance, wedding insurance, etc., so that they know that they are responsible if their guests were to actually get hurt, especially when there's alcohol involved. But actually, just in general, it's a good idea. And so it's required within that law to have that wording in your contract about the actual agritourism, and I think it's a good idea to have it on your contract. You're just stating again, everybody that comes out to the farm needs to be aware that farms are inherently dangerous. So there you go. That should be in there. And so any contract. But when it says customer or vendor, the other idea is that if you're having an event, you could very likely have other people coming onto your property that are not visitors per se. They're actually there as part of the event activity itself, whether they be entertainment, whether they be the actual food, caterers that come onto the property, florists, decorators, those kind of things that are coming on the property for a wedding. If they're anybody that you actually have to contract with, and just having them present on your location, especially if it's a craft fair that you decide to have. It's a very good idea to make sure that you're, again, making sure that everybody that's there also has their own coverage. So if you have a craft fair, that each one of the vendors actually also has insurance. And I know that that's something that more craft fairs, more festivals and other events are starting to see, is there's a requirement of the individual vendors to also have insurance. as well as, of course, if you end up with a contract for somebody to maybe just bring a food truck out on the weekends that you're doing a haunted trail. I mean, whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that whatever your contracts are with them is that they also know that they and their employees are aware that coming onto your farm could be inherently dangerous, all the wording that's in that. So that's contracts. Then signage, not only should you have those agritourism warning signs up, but no trespassing, swim at your own risk, or whatever it is. And I say that as in, I really would hope that you wouldn't, but that's okay. I mean, there's obviously situations where folks are going to want to swim, and that's a whole nother session probably. I could talk to you for another much more than 10 minutes on that. But just know that if you're going to have anything that you want people to stay away from, that just making it unattractive doesn't make it not something that somebody will go into. We talked about the locks and the doors, and that's great, but there's some things that you just need a no trespassing sign on. Having a lock on everything is sometimes not possible, and it's not feasible. Having rules posted. A lot of farms are seeing that now, just a nice decorative sign that says, that you can't take food into the animal area, or that you're not allowed to bring pets onto the property, or whatever it is. Have the sign posted on your premises. If you've got a Facebook page or a website, that the rules are very clearly marked there. Anybody who's coming onto the premises, letting them know that there's a set of rules. Making sure that they are aware, because there may be some things that are very specific to your farm that have nothing to do with liability. They just have to do with you wanting to make sure that everybody has a good time. And it could be that you don't want them picking something or touching something or coming in with loud music. I don't know. But one way or the other, there's things that you need to make sure that it's clear to them, because otherwise you can end up with issues, obviously, because they'll say, I didn't know. Just make sure that you are doing those kinds of things in preparation. And then that final step, I think, really that kind of goes along with all the others, is anybody that you have that's going to be working on the farm with you, whether they be family or whether or not they are hired help, employees, family, everybody who's actually going to be working on the farm during events needs to be aware of what all the laws are, what all the rules are, what you do and don't want to happen on your farm, so that they can actually be the extra eyes and ears to make sure that things are being done safely. If there's a particular activity that people are going to be participating in, you've determined what the safest way to do it is, or there's some sort of safety measures that go along with it, how to get on and off of the hayride, how to do certain things. Everybody who might possibly be working in that area at any possibility needs to know the rules. As well as the other thing that I emphasize on training for employees is that they know what to do in case of emergency. If someone starts bleeding, if someone breaks an arm, if there's a fire, they need to know that anyway. And even if there was no visitors to your farm whatsoever, I know that farmers are some of the most safety conscious people. They do a lot to try to make sure that their employees are well trained in how to operate machinery and do all the things they do during harvest, and those are the things that are great. But when you've got the added agritourism aspect of it, make sure that they're trained, especially in an emergency response. And one of the things that we see as a definite benefit is for farms to have an actual incident report form where the employee or whoever was right there, at the time of the incident, soon after the incident occurs, actually completes that form as to what were the conditions, what did they see, what did they hear, what was said. These are things that could come back to hurt you or help you. And so the more information you've got, the better. And making sure that they're trained what to do, how to handle it, how to make sure that emergency help can get to them, but also making sure that they've got a really good record of what actually occurred in case there actually ends up being a lawsuit is essential. And that's really, I mean, it's good for any business, period, to have a good emergency response system, as well as a good incident report that everybody is familiar with how to fill out and what they should be putting on there and being aware of at the actual time of an incident. A lot of it's common sense, but at the same time, it's so much to try to think about, and you're already, doing all these other things on your farm, that I felt like that this 5-part series might be helpful. And I hope that it has been. Again, try to catch up with the other videos if you haven't already. Definitely check out insurancewisetracy.com, my blog. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to just drop me a line. 828-652-6212 is the phone number here at the agency. And you can always email me, insurancewisetracy@gmail.com. I'd be happy to answer questions just in general, although I really, prefer them to be more related to these type of topics, but I'd be happy to answer your insurance questions. And I look forward to the next time that we get together and the next topic series that we'll be coming up with, which will be soon. So take care.